What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dinger Dudes podcast. As always, you have myself, Andrew Jackson, but then coming back to the show, West Georgia baseball legends Cooper and Carson. Welcome back to the show. It's always glad to have y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Cooper's more the
Absolutely.
legend than me, but
No.
Hey, y'all both made y'all's mark on the team. Yeah, as we welcome back to the show, I know it's been a while. No Steven today. He had another event he had to go to. A little bit of a busy schedule for him this Sunday. But yeah, so today we're just going to kind of be breaking down as the MLB season is approaching. We'll be talking about some spring training a little bit, and more notably some underrated players heading into the season that we believe will make a bigger mark and a bigger impact on their teams for this upcoming season. And then we'll also be throwing out our World Series predictions that are always spot on. Never get those wrong.
brother.
And kind of diving into why we believe they will be having a chance to hold the World Series trophy in October. So yeah, fellas, if anything y'all want to say before we get started?
Cross?
Oh, thanks for like I said, thanks for having us. Um, so you guys, am I good to go ahead and kind of give
Yeah,
you some
hey, yeah, let's
sneak
get
peek?
into it, man. Lead us off, man. What you got for
Okay.
us?
So, I almost had the Mariners. I almost had to pick the winner there last year, who was like a dark horse, but
Mm-hmm.
I really like what Detroit did this offseason,
Ooh,
getting
me
Framber
too.
Valdez. I mean, it's a proven winner who's really good. He's got nasty stuff. I like the addition of Justin Verlander. A
Coming back
veteran
to his
who's been
roots.
there. Yeah, back to his roots. Um, you know, I like Jack Flaherty. Obviously, Scooble's the man. I still think they're a couple offensive pieces away from being in, a legit closer, being away from being a World Series team.
Sure.
But I like the Seattle Mariners again. I like them.
Going
Yeah.
off what Carson said, I mean, the Tigers farm system is so good, like with McGonigal, obviously Max Clark, and some other pieces. It'd be interesting to see if they might try to fast track some of those guys to the big leagues, get them some experience, so that way they can play a role in a playoff push this year.
Absolutely. I guess I'll ask the both of y'all since I kind of mentioned Detroit. One of the biggest question marks for me, I know Yavi Baez, since he came to Detroit, has kind of been buried in the league and his name kind of got drowned out by everybody else up until last year, where we saw him
Yeah.
have a really big resurgence. It was actually a huge offensive piece for Detroit. Do y'all think he stays consistent and kind of goes back to the old Yavi Baez, or do we think he drowns a little bit?
I think personally he chases way too much to have long-term
Mm.
success, like be consistent. Um, you watch some of his swings and he's missing by 30 feet on sliders in the dirt. So it's
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
just hard for me to see that and say that he's going to have another year like he did last year.
Yeah, I just to piggyback off of what Coop said, it's definitely really hard to be consistent when your plate discipline isn't that great. I mean, the glove's always been decent. And last year was his best year, and that still is just kind of like mediocre.
Right.
But I could see, and if they struggle out the gate, they could be a seller team because Scooble's contract's up. It doesn't look like they're going to come to a long-term agreement here before the season. So if they struggle early on and some guys get hurt, look for them to also be a seller team too.
Agreed.
There
I
we
mean,
go. Yeah.
I actually do want to piggyback off of that. I actually had a conversation with Dominic Murgo about the Detroit Tigers and the Texas Rangers, and I believe that the Detroit Tigers are a top two rotation in the American League. I'm going to say
Yeah.
American, not MLB wise, but again, I was really hoping that the Detroit Tigers went and got a solid power bat like Marcell Ozuna was floating around there a little bit. Unfortunately, he went to the Pittsburgh Pirates. As a Cardinals fan, that kind of hurts me, but honestly, I love the Detroit Tigers. I think they have a top two rotation. They have a lot of scrappy, double, triple kind of guys that are just going to get you on base, not really big power bat guys outside of Riley Green, maybe.
Yeah.
I love the Detroit Tigers. I think they can make a push for an ALCS. Do I think World Series? No, but ALCS, yes.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Ozuna and the Pirates, what do we think about them?
There,
They got
go
better.
ahead.
Yeah, they did get a little bit better. They got, not the home run slam, off-season sign, but they got a couple veteran bats. I mean, their rotation, you could argue is a legit top three rotation in the NL.
What is it? They
Um,
got Bubba Chandler, Paul Skeens,
Jared
Joe
Jones,
Jones.
Mitch Keller.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's another guy. They
They
have a
got
legit five-man rotation though.
Yeah, they got great
Oh
starters,
man,
a lot of
yeah.
young talent. So
I know Paul Skeen's excited about that. I know people are kind of wondering if when his tenure comes up, if they think he'll be a long-term pilot, if he's a pirate, if he's going to go chase the money. So that organization wants to keep Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh. They have to surround him with young talent. I think that's absolutely what they've done so far. So I think Paul Skeens especially is looking forward up to this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates are a lot better than we think.
I agree.
me
Yeah, I
and
too.
kind
that
of want to
Andrew.
I was just going to keep in the National League real quick since we kind of talked about the Tigers and the Pirates. There's another team that I'm really high on. I was actually having an Instagram argument with somebody a couple days ago about the NL West because I can't remember who posted it, but they're talking about, could there be another team win the National League West this year? And I'm just like, absolutely not. But there is a team in the NL West that I think will make the wild card this year, and I actually do think this team will finish with a better record than the San Diego Padres. And I'm talking about the San Francisco Giants. I absolutely love what the Giants did during the offseason. I think they just fixed a lot of real problems that they had last year. And I think it starts with the second base. That was probably one of the weakest spots in baseball for the Giants roster. It was near the bottom of the league when it came to that position. So what did they do? They bring in Luis Arias. You can say whatever you want about his play style, but I think the guy, I mean, he just flat out hits. I mean, he has elite bat steals, he has great contact, and he raises the floor for anybody's lineup almost immediately. And I think, there's not going to be no more automatic outs at second base. There's going to be no more lineup gaps for the Giants. And then, you add Harrison Bader. And this is where I think things get really important for the Giants because Bader kind of slots into that center position, which allows, Hung Ho Lee to move to right field. And I think that shift actually matters a lot than what people realize because what was projected as a bottom five right field situation, suddenly becomes a very defensively sound outfield not now. And I think that's just optimizing, your true potential if you're the San Francisco Giants. And then, of course, we all know what they did at the manager spot. And I think they just turned a lot of weakness into a lot of stability without making any big headline grabs. And I think that's kind of why they've kind of flown under the radar a little bit. But then, on the mound, they got Tyler, and I think Adrian Hauser was the other one. And it's
Yeah.
not about Cy Young or anything, but I think it's about depth, and that's all that matters because the Giants, they just need to find a way to survive that 162 game season because they don't have to win 100 games. They just need to win 86 to 89, which they were very close to that last year. And I think if they can do that, they can grab a wild card spot. And I think a lot of those fixes, if you ask me, it might be a little bit of a hot take, but I kind of like that roster a little bit better than what they've got in San Diego. I think they just got more depth in San Francisco right now, and if you're a Giants fan, I think there's a lot to be excited about. This is
Coops
a
Yeah.
go ahead.
Coops MLB player comp is Luis Arias. That is
Yes,
who Cooper is. And
Mr.
I was just
Consistent.
telling him yesterday, I hated facing a Cooper Prince guy. Hated it.
Oh,
They weren't gonna strike out. They're they'll lay off tough pitches, just scrappy, like get them out of my face type of thing.
yep.
Um, but yeah, that's Cooper Prince's big league comp right there.
I think that's perfect. Just always finds a way to get the bat on the ball no matter what situation, and that's the kind of guy that can bring you immediate success, which is
Yeah.
another reason why I love that signing.
Like you said, he raises the floor for that lineup. And one guy we didn't mention was Drew Gilbert. I could see
Oh,
him having a pretty good year this year.
Oh yeah.
Along with another guy in the NL West that I've been keeping up with. I don't know if y'all seen the tweets, is Zach Veen. He's put on 40
Mm.
pounds
Oh
allegedly.
wow.
Put on 40 pounds and he's sober now and fellow
I
Florida
just
boy
saw
like
that article.
Carson. Yeah, fellow Florida boy. So
Yeah, we played against them actually.
at Spruce Creek.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
It was my senior year opening the first game. Dude, they waxed us so bad. We got run rolled. Yeah, that team lost my senior year. We lost 4 games all year, but that first game, yeah, they came out and waxed us. And he was cocky, running his mouth. You
Yep.
know, yeah. Obviously, I saw the article about the sober stuff. You never want to see people go through that,
Right.
especially with the talent that he has. So, hopefully they got him the help that he needed. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what a full year in the big leagues looks like for him, especially with that added weight that'll help him sustain kind of that longevity and whatever throughout the season. And obviously, almost everybody, maybe not at that level, but they lose weight throughout the season. So him having that extra weight should be pretty good for him.
Absolutely. And I guess kind of staying on the topic of Luis Arias, a big aspect of Arias is his great plate discipline. That's what helps him become so consistent, which kind of leads me to, I guess I'll open up this conversation. I guess we'll start naming some very underrated players that we're excited to watch this upcoming season. And for me, that's a first baseman in the American League, Noah Shanuel, the Los Angeles Angels. I've
Hmm.
always been a big fan of him. I remember the Seminoles playing him in
Yeah.
college baseball when he was
Yep.
back when he was at Florida Atlantic, and I believe he was a top 15 pick in the 2023 MLB draft.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think Angels were top 15 that year. Um, but he came through the minor system really quick. I mean, I don't even think he played half a season in the minors before he was called up to make his MLB debut. And then right off the bat, he has made his mark with the Angels franchise. I think he just turned 24 yesterday, matter of fact. And what I love about him is, his phenomenal walk ratio. And he also has one of the above the league average in OPS. Great plate discipline, very underrated speed. If he gets on the gap, he should have no problem getting to third. He's calm and confident in the clutch. He had a lot of clutch moments for the Angels last year. And, I think he was a highly rated prospect out of Florida Atlantic, but I don't think anyone really expected him to flourish as quickly as he has. And to me, I'm going to go and say that he's going to be an all-star for the American League next year.
Nice.
And I know the Angels kind of don't really have an identity right now. They're trying to find a new one under new manager Kurt Suzuki, which I still think is a crazy pull. But I think if Suzuki wants to establish
Yep.
a stable foundation in Anaheim, I think it's going to start with Noah Shanuel. They're going to have to keep him around. And if he continues to develop, he's going to continue to be a top first baseman in the American League for years to come.
Look, I like the Angels lineup when it comes to batting 1 through 9. I don't
I do
like the
too.
The Angels haven't had an identity since 2014 when they had Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols, Mike Trout. And I know a lot of Angels fans are upset at the Kurt Suzuki hiring, and here is why. He doesn't have any pro ball really experience. The only managing experience he has is his kids' little league team. But honestly, I love the aspect of bringing in former players because they have the player or the coach player experience with the current players' personable connections. And I like Kurt Suzuki. Do I think he's going to succeed in year one? No.
So
Nobody.
Jackson,
Yeah.
are you saying that Trent Ross couldn't be a good MLB manager?
Dude, I love Trent Ross. Like I'm
Who
not gonna
doesn't
die
love
on
Trent,
Trent
bro?
Ross, but Trent Ross. Do I think he could be a good MLB manager? I feel like he could be better than Kurt Suzuki.
Okay.
Like the mindset there. But I actually
Say
want
it
to
with your
talk about.
chest, Jackson.
Can I give my underrated MLB player heading into the spring training? I'm gonna go with
Yes, sir.
second for the Minnesota Twins, Luke Keeschel. I'm a big
Mm.
fan of Luke Keeschel. In 49 games, had a 302 batting average, 4 homers, 28 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases, 14 doubles. I'm very high on Luke Keeschel. I love the duo of Luke Keeschel and Royce Lewis in that Minnesota Twins infield. Do I think as long as he stays healthy, I think he's a 30 homer, 85 RBI, maybe like 20 double type guy. And I believe he can be an all-star this year if he continues the momentum that he had in a late season surge last season. So give me my Luke Keeschel for my underrated guy. I like Luke Keeschel.
Hmm.
I'll give y'all my underrated guy for this
Let's
year.
hear it.
and it is the Boston Red Sox third baseman Caleb Durbin. He
Nice.
came up through the Yankees org, got traded. I forget who it was for, maybe in the Devin Williams trade. Went over to the Brewers, was up for a little bit last year, and got dealt to the Red Sox. And this offseason, I guess to replace Bregman. He short, stocky guy, a lot of speed, a lot of pop, and I think playing at Fenway is going to be really, really good for him. He's going to slug it well there, having that green monster to play with. So I think we could see some pretty good stuff from him, and obviously he's going to have some pieces around him to help him, get more heaters, stuff like that. Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran. So it'll
They're
be
a good
interesting
young
to see what he
squad.
does this year.
They are. I love the depth that the Red Sox have now because of all these offseason acquisitions, and they're actually one of my top picks to win the pennant this year. I really like the Red Sox to win the American League. I really do.
There's none there.
I guess so. I'll go back on the Giants for a minute. I know it sounds like I'm a Giants fan. I promise I'm not. But there's just another guy on that team that, because, the more I got into that argument with that random Instagram guy, the more I started looking to the Giants roster. And there's another guy on that team that I don't think is getting talked about enough. Casey Schmidt, I think, will have a really big rebound season because, I mean, when you take a look at what he did last year, there's not really anything that stands out as like a breakout kind of guy. But I think the confidence levels are labeled low for the wrong reasons because if you take a look at what actually happened last year, there's a very clear reason as to why his production dipped, and it had nothing to do with his ability. He was trending toward a legitimate breakout last season, and then he had that hit by pitch in late June. And after that, he just kind of batted the ball quietly, kind of his velocity dipped, a lot. And I think just his authority at the plate was just never the same after that. But now we know why. It's because he had massive wrist issues after getting hit by pitch. And he recently just had surgery. I think they did like I can't remember what exactly the surgery was, but he recovered very quickly. And, it was just a minor inconvenience, but that's something that directly affected his bat speed and power. But there's been a lot of early reports of spring training so far that, Schmidt's looking very healthy. His profile is just really intriguing right now. But all in all, he's just a well offensive rounded guy. He never looks overwhelmed at the plate. He has great tendencies and he knows exactly where he wants to hit the ball. And I think just based on what we've seen so far and all the reports from spring training and what he was doing before he got injured, I don't think it's far off to say he could be a 20 plus home run hitter this year and be a big part as to why the Giants have a breakout year. And plus, with Luis Arias, coming to the play, he's going to always have guys in scoring position for himself, which I think could really increase his RBI numbers as well. So I think as long as he stays healthy, I really like Casey Smith because I like what he was doing before he got hurt last year. So I expect him to have a good rebound.
What position is he going to play?
Well, I don't know. The Giants haven't had their roster, they're still trying to, tweak some things out now that Luis Arias has been thrown to the mix. So I don't really know where exactly they're going to fit him yet, but regardless, I just like what he does at the plate. Defensively, not too sure about, but
Yeah.
I think as long as he stays healthy, he could be a 20 plus home run hitter.
Yeah, he got off to a hot start when he first made his debut and he was
Oh
playing
yeah.
really well. I don't see any
hmm
reason why he couldn't do that again. I think it's just going to be hard for him to find his way into the lineup because what is it? The left side of the infield is Chapman and Adames,
It's
and then we
pretty
got
stacked. Yeah.
so it'll be intriguing to see kind of what they do with it. Who do they have at first base?
First base. Crap, he
Uh,
did it's
the-
here.
the-
I could. Devers.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
Come on,
Let's
Andrew,
see.
you're a Giants
Yeah,
fan.
I look. I haven't. Let me see, because I don't know what the recent reports were at their infield. I can see what the projected lineup
I
is real
mean,
quick
I'm sure Devers will play first, I would imagine.
if he even wants to.
And I'd say unless they're just going to shove him at DH again, which I don't think
His
would make a lot of sense.
yeah, but you know how he was getting problems. Okay, so this is their projected opening. Let's see, first base. They actually have Bryce Eldridge as their projected first base and Devers as a
Selfish.
designated hitter.
Okay, okay.
So
Hey,
it looks like Devers does not want to play
some
first again.
some breaking news out of 680 The Fan. Hurston Waldrip is going to be out for a month or two after finding loose bodies in an MRI with some elbow
uh,
dis. So,
It's just following the trend of the Braves, man. I mean, Schwally got hit first. Wadrep, every time a breakout pitcher comes to Atlanta, they're bound to get hurt in some. Adrian Smith Sawyer was another example like that. It's just,
Okay, guys,
I've kind of grown numb to it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little longer rehab than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Lane, he was going through that, what was it, 2 years ago? In
Yeah,
his
man.
elbow, and he had quite a long recovery process.
Yeah, he tried to kind of power through it and see if he could throw with it. Yeah, it's going to be more than a month. Potentially, it could end up in surgery, and he could be done for a year. All right, my breakaway can't, or somebody I'm looking forward to watching, and he had some early postseason success is Cam Shitler. I mean, I'm a gambling man. I'll admit it's legal where I do it at.
Okay.
And I was gonna bet that he wasn't gonna go over 5.5 innings, and it was the game he went 8 innings, 12 Ks. Because I was like, who the hell 100 miles an hour? And I was like, well, it's gonna be a long night for me. But yeah, looking forward to seeing
Nice.
with Garrett Cole back in the rotation. They have a legit rotation this year too.
They do.
With Freed, and looking to see where he kind of elevates his game this year, because he could be a huge piece for the Yankees.
Absolutely.
No, I
Who do you
love Cam.
think-
I love Cam Schlitter. I love Cam Schlitter.
Is it Schlitter or is it Shitler?
Schlittler.
Schlittler.
But
I like
they
Carson's
have him
version
at
better.
the.
Yeah, I like
have-
Shitler better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. No, they have him at the 2 spot in the rotation as of right now. Still waiting on
Wow.
obviously Garrett Cole to come back, and then you have Rodon coming back as well, who's a solid 2-3 guy for any rotation really. And then you have Luis Gill, Ryan Weathers they picked up from Miami. I love Ryan Weathers, and then that bullpen is absolutely insane. Jake Bird, Paul Blackburn, Ryan Yarbrough, David Bednar, Camilo Duvall, Fernando Cruz. I'm high on Fernando Cruz. And Clark Schmidt as well. I love Clark Schmidt. He's a solid like 9-10 win guy. Will give you like a 3.60 ERA. He's a 4.5 guy, but he's still really solid. I like the Yankees. But I have a hot take for this season, and I hate saying it as a Cardinals fan, but I mentioned this on the Sports Out of Pocket at Wolf Sports Network, and Pirates are a wild card team with the additions that they made this offseason. You have O'Neal Cruz, Brandon Lowe, Brian Reynolds, Ryan O'Hearn, Marcell Ozuna, and then imagine you bring up Connor Griffin for that shortstop spot. That's absolutely phenomenal. And that 1 through 5 in the rotation, when fully healthy, Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, Braxton Ashcraft, and Bubba Chandler, and you still have Jose Urquidy as well. And honestly, I think the Cardinals place 5 in the NL Central. I have no hope for the Cardinals at all this season. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think, can push for a wild card spot.
Termarr Johnson might be coming up soon as well for the Pirates. I don't know when they're looking at getting him to make his debut, but I know he's been having a lot of success in the minor leagues. I think he's in AAA now. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him come all-star
Brandon
break.
Lau too.
Who's that, Carson?
You got Brandon Lau from the Rays. Brandon Lau from the Rays.
They did, yeah.
Yeah,
That Pirates had a huge offseason. Huge offseason.
Yeah, they got better.
They did. They really did.
And I know you guys had that conversation about, should there be salary caps for teams? And I say no, because just like the Mets were the highest payroll last year, they missed the playoffs. Just because you buy players, they still have to stay healthy, perform, and every team has the right to spend as much money as they want. But I don't think a salary cap should be put on teams.
Salary floor should be put.
I think the only way that gets ruined, I think if the Dodgers three-peat here, I would not be surprised if there's a lockdown next year and they put a salary cap in place. That's what I fear is going to happen if the Dodgers win the World Series this year.
Players will never approve that, because then that means they'll make less money.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you put a floor in, which would help the players, then it
Right.
forces everybody to start spending money. Like you
Yeah.
don't have these
Right.
teams that are
Right.
trying to
Right.
save a penny here and there by, you know, making guys wait till arbitration and do this, that, or the other. You get to retain your players. You get to pay them what they're worth.
Yeah.
I think a salary floor would be much better than a cap.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The only two who are for the salary cap are Andrew and Chase, and they have their reasons why.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm for it. I just say with Chase, I just fear that that's what's coming to the MLB. But I wouldn't necessarily say I'm for it because I'm a traditional guy myself. I just think, it's I think they're going to do whatever they can to keep the fans happy. I think that's just all what it comes down to. That's what the pitch clock has been for. That's what the OBS system is for now. And, Chris Sale has already said he's not going to use the OBS system at all.
Yep.
But, you know, I think they're just going to do whatever they can to keep the fans happy. And I think, I don't know if it's good. I think I totally agree with Cooper, though. I think a salary floor makes so much more sense. But I guess it's all going to come with time. We'll just have to see.
Now, Carson,
But
I actually wanted to ask you this. I know you're a big Rays fan. How are you? Do you have any sort of optimism for the 2026 season for the Tampa Bay Rays?
They're always very scrappy and overachieve with the. I mean, with the budget that they do spend. I think hopefully a healthy Shane McClanahan, who was an all-star, a couple of years ago before he got hurt. I mean, the rotation's always going to be good. I just see us finishing, third or fourth, honestly. I think Boston's going to be better this year. I think New York's going to be really good. I mean, Toronto's going to be good. And I know Baltimore made a couple additions this offseason with Pete Alonso. And I don't know. I just see us finishing that third or fourth range. It's just not, the East is tough.
What kind of year are you seeing out of Caminero?
Mm.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah. He's never hit in the trop either. So I heard people
Yeah.
struggle to see in the trop. I know Willie Adames talked about it, where he said he hated hitting at the trop. So
Yeah.
No, I mean I love Caminero, and
I
honestly,
hate that place, man. I,
you you
yeah.
can't you can't beat what he did really last season. I don't think he has the same season he does, but I still think he's a 30 home run hitter. I mean, obviously RBIs in the 80s, high 70s, 90s, and a really high batting average. So I like Junior Caminero. But
Yeah.
we have 10 minutes left in this meeting, and I want to get to our way too early World Series predictions. That I'm going to put this out on a graphic, and I want to start off with Cooper Prince.
I think I would be a fool not to say the Dodgers in the NL. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just gonna do that. For the AL, I really don't know, man. I just a shot in the dark here. I want to say the Tigers just because I want to see it. So I'm gonna go Dodgers, Tigers, um, and possibly. I mean, I would hate to say Dodgers, Yankees because that's just easy, but I could see that as well.
I mean, I love the answer there. Carson.
Yeah. Jeez. And I want to say Dodgers. Heart and mind tell me Dodgers, but I would like to mix it up. I think the Padres get over the hump and they finally beat the Dodgers and go to the World Series.
New management. I like
Yep.
it.
And I think awaiting them
Are going to be the
is,
Tampa Bay Rays.
hell no, is I think it's the Yankees. And I know it's an easy one too, but I do.
I love it.
Yankees, Padres, final picks.
Perfect.
I mean,
Andrew,
oh, go ahead, Andrew. You go
not
first,
you,
Andrew.
Chase. Andrew.
Oh, me? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last year. I think I'm going to go with Dodgers in the National League. Yeah, I've tried for the last 2 years not to pick the Dodgers, and it's always backfired. So I'll go LA. Now, the American League, I've kind of had a lot of back and forth with because I do like the Red Sox a lot. I think Baltimore is an intriguing team. I don't think they're World Series bound yet, but I'm actually going to kind of go. I don't know if it would be considered a sleeper pick because the pitching staff still has a lot of question marks. But I like the Astros to win the pennant in the American League and get back to the World Series, without cheating this time. But I think Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown, they make a solid 1-2 combo at the top of the rotation. But as far as
Valdez
that
isn't there
goes,
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember he
yeah,
went to
you're
Detroit.
right.
He went to
You're
Detroit.
right. I forgot about that.
Come on,
Okay, that's
Andrew.
going to change
Come
my
on,
pick.
Andrew.
That's going to change my pick. Okay, I'll go with the Red Sox. I'll go with my first instinct, and I'll go Dodgers, Red Sox for the World Series. Crap, man, I forgot Valdez wasn't in Houston anymore. That's
Nope.
disappointing.
He's a Tiger.
I'm gonna make sure to clip that, Andrew.
Yeah, go ahead.
he's been
Go
focusing
right
on the
for it.
Giants, guys.
I can
He's
tell
been
you, man,
focusing on
I'm
the
blazing
Giants.
San Francisco right now, dude.
Yeah. Chase.
Apparently. Am I going next, Jackson? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Cooper and Andrew. Until the Dodgers prove me wrong otherwise, I'm not going to pick against them to win the National League. Adding Kyle Tucker was just another thing. They were able to re-sign Max Muncy. He just adds consistency and clutchness to that Dodgers rotation. I'm not even going to get into their bullpen, their pitching staff. I think that speaks for itself. So I really go to the American Leagues. I think that's where it definitely gets interesting because there's a lot of teams that I could see when the American League pitted. I like the Red Sox. I love the Tigers, the Yankees too. I agree with you, Andrew. I think the Orioles could be a very sneaky contender, but quite not World Series yet. I like the Seattle Mariners. They came really close last year. I think they finally win the pennant. Cal Riley, of course, has established himself as one of the most dominant catchers in the league. I do think he can be consistent in that area. Julio Rodriguez, he had a really big rebound season last year. I still
Big
think
bounce
he
back.
is. I really do think he is still an MVP caliber player. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a part of that MVP race for the American League. JP Crawford, I think, continues to be one of the most underrated players in the league because of his age. He adds really good veteran presence, and he's still a very consistent guy at the plate. Munoz is the core of that bullpen. I love their starting rotation. So give me Seattle and the Dodgers.
Oh, you also have Brendan Donovan as well that they just
Yeah.
acquired from the St.
Yeah.
Louis Cardinals.
Absolutely fleeced y'all, Jackson. Absolutely fleeced that organization.
I understand it. Like we got the switch pitch Mariners, and he's not even going to switch pitch. He's going to be a right-handed pitcher, Durangelo. I don't even know how to pronounce
Isn't he
his last name.
does he have like a 380 ERA or something
It's
like
like a
that?
three. It's like a 396 in high A right now. But yeah, I mean, he had a 4-7 record last season, but we got some good young players that might never see the light of day on Busch Stadium's field. But
As
well, I mean, I hope to see it. I hope to see it for the St. Louis Cardinals. But I want to give my World Series predictions, and I'm looking at the National League right now on the fan graphs. Right now, the Dodgers have a 27.1% chance to win the World Series in the National League. And anybody under that, the second one is the Braves at 8.6. So yeah, no, I'm going the Dodgers in the National League. I mean, I can't not go the Dodgers after back-to-back World Series wins, and then the addition of Kyle Tucker, the addition of Edwin Diaz, who in my opinion is the best closer in baseball. And just adding to that bullpen, that's absolutely phenomenal. And in the American League, this might be a little bit thrown, but I think that this team has the best rotation in the American League, and I'm gonna go with the Texas Rangers. I think the Texas Rangers win the World Series.
Wow. Oh wow.
I don't think they win the World Series. I think they make the World Series. I mean, I love that lineup right now. You have the addition of Brandon Nimmo, Wyatt Langford, Corey Seager back there, Jake Berger, Josh Young. They don't have a lot of like scrappy guys that you would see be a star-studded lineup, but they had the same type of scrappy guys in the 2023 World Series.
Hey, they can have Tim
But
Hires back.
yeah, and I honestly, yeah, but I mean, I'm looking at that rotation: Jacob DeGrom, Eovaldi,
Mhm.
Mackenzie Gore, Jack Leiter, Kumar Rocker. And honestly, I think they're built for success. I'm gonna take the Texas Rangers for the World Series.
I'm so
Like
glad
it.
they got Mackenzie Gore out of Washington. God bless his soul.
So none of us
Yeah.
are high on the Blue Jays, it sounds like.
Mhm.
I like the Blue Jays too, though. I mean, the American League, it's such a toss-up to me.
Really
It
tough to
really
pick.
is.
Yeah.
Hold on. I actually wanted to throw this out there, and I know, hold on, Twins, before you say anything, I want to get Cooper and Carson's opinion on this. Heading into this season, who are you higher on, Bo Bichette or Austin Riley?
I'm gonna
Austin
let
Riley.
Cross go.
Austin Riley.
Ooh.
Pretty easy, right? I mean,
There, there you go, Jackson.
No,
I know.
I don't think I agree with that. I think I'm on Bo. I think I'm on Bichette. I've been watching him play since he was in high school, though. Like keeping up with him since he was a second rounder, committed to Arizona State, and then made his way up. I'm a big Bo Bichette guy.
What
I like
about
He's
Bo
a stud.
too.
what about Jerks and Profile Brandon Marsh?
Come on.
There's a reason we're asking these random
Yeah.
questions, by the way.
Fair enough.
I mean, jeez.
Pro
So
far.
far. Yeah.
Jackson's shaking his head
Trent
over
Ross.
there, man. I didn't.
Trent Ross. He's a Trent Ross.
Trent Ross.
Yeah, let's just say Trent Ross and leave it at that, because then we can never be
just
wrong.
say Trent Ross. But
There you go.
Carson, Cooper, thank y'all so much for taking time
Yes,
out of your
thank
day
y'all.
to do this. We truly
course.
enjoy it. Always love having you guys back on. And this will be out, the graphic will be out later. But for Andrew, Carson, Cooper, Chase, and myself, we will see y'all next time.